Hi everyone! So today we are going to be making these delicious Pop-Tarts, homemade Pop-Tarts. I've always wanted to make these, and with Valentine's Day coming up, you could also make these heart-shaped or add some pink food coloring to the icing. They smell so good. So let's go ahead and make these, but before we do, I just want to spend a minute talking about today's sponsor, which is Ana Luisa. And Ana Luisa is a jewelry company that sells high-end jewelry for affordable prices. And I'm wearing their earrings today. I don't know if you guys already know, but one of my favorite pairs of earrings is from Ana Luisa. I wore them in my last video. They're my gold hoop earrings, and they're just so elegant and cute, and I wear them all the time. So yeah, I was really excited that they wanted to partner again, and they sent me these ones right here, which I love this bigger oval style. And then they also sent me these smaller hoops right here, which I love. I love the small gold hoop look. They're very cute and they're really high quality. So if you want to go ahead and check out their jewelry, I will leave a link down below. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started making these Pop-Tarts. Okay, so our first step is to cut up 1 stick of gold butter, which is half a cup of butter, into little cubes. And we want to make sure it is gold.
dough. When I clicked that button, the mixer stayed on, and I'll show you in a second. Yeah, right here, I think. And then it finally made a dough ball, so we were all good. I was like, oh no, did I do something wrong? But yeah, it ended up working. I just had to be patient. There it is. And then once it is a ball, you can take it out, and we are going to flour a surface. So I just have a cutting board here, lightly flour it, and all we're gonna do is knead the dough just a few times, and that's it. So luckily it's not one of those things like when you're making bread where you have to knead it for like 10 minutes straight. So your arms won't be sore after this, don't worry. Speaking of being sore, I took Pilates this week for the first time, and my arms and my sides were very sore. So once we form this into a disc shape, I was kind of trying to make it a perfect disc, but we're just gonna be refrigerating the dough. Just wrap it in plastic wrap, or I put it in a Ziploc. We're gonna be refrigerating the dough
Okay, you guys, the time has come to try Poptarts. And they smell so good. I'm so excited to try them. So they got like puffed up a little bit, and I like them cool. So let's go ahead and try one. I think I'm gonna go for this one. Okay, I hope it tastes good. The dough is good, and the strawberry jam in it is really good, and the little bit of icing for sweetness. I like how we added just a little bit of vanilla for a little bit of flavor in the icing. It's really soft too. But yeah, this would be such a cute Valentine's Day treat. Again, you could add pink food coloring to the icing or make them heart-shaped, but let me know if you try these. And thank you again to Ana Luisa for sponsoring this video. Again, if you guys want to go check out their jewelry, I will leave the link in the description box. Alright, bye you guys. Thanks for joining me today.